What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker,
Amir, Rahimi.
and today on The Great Debaters, getting a little gangster, the Geto Boys. Alright, Amir, so everybody should know they gotta please help us out here on The Great Debaters. Subscribe to Unique Access Entertainment. It's free. It's right down there. Like, subscribe, share, talk about our content, promote it, share it with your friends and family so we can keep coming to you guys with as many interviews, posts, comments, everything as often as possible. Now today for The Great Debaters, we're taking it to 1990, the Geto Boys' Eponymous album. And this album is, in a large way, the reworking, enhancement, remixing of the Geto Boys' Grip It on That Other Level. That's an album that the Chill from Compton's Most Wanted and I did our best albums on. It's also one that Amir and I have talked about before on The Great Debaters. But today, we're going to the Rick Rubin processed project. So Amir, for you, what were your first thoughts hearing this version and the Geto Boys self-titled album?
Wow. I actually heard this one before I heard Grip It on That Other Level. So when I heard Grip It on That Other Level, I was confused because that came out before and I was like, wait a second, this is like the same but not the same, and it threw me off. And the track list was like very identical but not the same as well because they added songs here and they took off songs and blah 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 whatever. But this album's actually it's also important on which pressing you get too, because at first I remember I just wanted the album and I didn't do my due diligence on the pressings, and then I actually had a friend who told me to make sure I'm getting like the Deaf American recordings, first press and all that, because they used the Steve Miller sample on Gangster Love, and there were maybe like a couple other things, like it's got like some different stuff on the cover, slightly like one of the text boxes. But anyways, I made sure to get that pressing, and I'm happy I did, because one of my picks is actually Gangsta Love, and I've heard the one with the Lynyrd Skynyrd sample, and I do prefer the Steve Miller sample, so I'm very happy that I did get this one. But anyways, my first pick, Gangsta Love, one of my favorite Geto Boys songs ever. It's literally ignorance, hilariousness, just comedy on another level, just like vulgar. There's so many things that I've heard on this song that I haven't really heard elsewhere. And we've talked about Too Short, we've talked about other rappers who explore sexual topics, and the Geto Boys really just in a completely hysterical way. If you don't laugh at this song at all, there's something wrong with you. It's so funny. Like, everything they're saying, and also like, even apart from just the vulgar and sexual content, the whole structure of this song is so awesome in the sense that it doesn't really have a structure. You get 4 bars from Scarface, you get 4 from Bushwick, you get 8 from Willie D, you get 12 here, you get 4 there, and it's just got like a little skit interlude in it too, and it's just like, the structure is so random, it's never happened again after that. It's just so unique. But just like them really just going back and forth and all that is just epic. And then you hear like just the lines are just ridiculous. Like, this is one of the first times that I had heard them say like, suck my dick and lick my scrotum, and then the butt fucking and the whipping on their cons, and just all these just ridiculous, like hilarious things that they're all saying. And and even in there, they are still, it's funny because even in there, they're still talking about having safe sex, like wear a glove. Like, they throw that in there, but they're just
in the midst of all this depravity.
and then at the end, like, Willie D's saying, like, this girl is trying to say, like, the baby's his, and he's like, I'll pull her by her vile neck and drag her like a horse. I'm like, oh my god. And then he says, like, I knew I wore a fucking glove. You know who you fucking with, bitch? And then it goes like, call me the gangster of love. It's just like, dude, this song, it's, I can see why it's not for everyone. I can totally see that. But if you can get past all that and just...
Which is a lot, by the way.
Which is a lot. But if you can get just the rapping and like the style and just like just the pure ridiculousness and just how funny it is, and it's a masterpiece, bro. And yeah, and I prefer this sample on this pressing of the album because they got a few floating around there. So that's my first pick.
Alright, well that's not one of my picks, although I agree. It's a phenomenal piece of work and very, if you can look at it that way, hysterical. However, that's not one of my picks. As much as I enjoy that song and as much as I've laughed at certain parts of that song, I can't pick that as one of the best songs for me. Now, for me, because this album is so similar, although it has so many differences, one of the things that I liked about it was Fuck 'Em coming the first song. So that's one of my picks because it's not on Grip It on that other level. It's the first song on the album, and it just is so aggressive, so angry, so forceful, and it really encapsulates what was going on with the Geto Boys as they were trying to get to that next level and break through to be big on a national scale. And I think it really shows the ferocity with which they wanted to be revered, they wanted to be respected, and the Geto Boys really made a point with Fuck 'Em to basically be like, yo, if you're not with us, we don't care because we're gonna do what we're gonna do, we're gonna be who we're gonna be, and enough people are gonna get behind us to where we are gonna be successful. And then lo and behold, the next album is where it really kicks off with We Can't Be Stopped, going platinum. Scarface launches into his astonishing career, going platinum and stuff, time after time, and establishing himself as one of the top 5 dead or alive by most, at least the important ones, including myself, that say he's obviously, one of the best ever. So, all that to be said, Fuck 'Em, I think, really sets the tone for this album, and because of the not being on the other version, it gave me a sense of this is a different album, and then it made me appreciate some of the other changes because of the remixes, beats, or the change of the lyrics on certain songs. So, all that to be said, that's one of my picks. What's your second pick, Amir?
And I want to touch upon that what you're saying about Fuck 'Em too. I really think it was smart by the group and Rick Rubin and the producers John Beto, etc. How when laying out this album, they chose to put that as track 1. Like, it's very important, the sequencing. And I think, just to your point, to start it off like that with the message and to show that it is a new album was very smart. And it's an amazing song. My second pick will probably, or it is, Scarface. The track Scarface, executed by Scarface, masterpiece. And it's just, oh my god. So it's funny how, and I've heard him say in interviews before, how he hadn't seen the movie Scarface when he had made this song or even had the name, because as most should know by now, he did also go by DJ Action before. And then Scarface, I guess, stuck because people called him that, and then Jay Prince said to keep that name. So I found it interesting how he hadn't seen the movie, because there are some calls to the movie in here. I don't know if one of the members or Jay Prince said to, like, just throw it in there, because when he says say hi to the bad guy or whatever. And then some of the things he's also saying in the song make me feel like he's seen it, but regardless, the content is great. Like, I started out small time, like, the intro is fantastic, and then you get like 2 like regular standard verses of 12 or 16 or whatever he was doing, and then the last verse is just extremely long, and that's where the story really like breaks through, and he's talking about like hooking up with the chick, but then the chick gets her head shot off, and then he's like, oh shit, so he grabs his gun, and then he doesn't kill 1, 2, he kills like 20 people plus a cop, and then he basically says like he has to flee. They don't know his name, they only know his face. Like, I think all the things he's saying are very clever, and then even in there, like, Scarface has like pretty much a very standard flow throughout the song, but then there's like 2 bars where he goes faster in that last verse. Like, okay, so he's showing off his skills, he's showing improvement, but Scarface is, if you didn't know he was a great storyteller by up to that point, this is a song where you really knew, like, okay, this guy is about to have a solo career. Like, this is that song that really, in my opinion, really shows that this guy is something special. And then just the production on it is fantastic. The samples are great. The outro, how it doesn't just end when the story's over, when he has that iconic closing bar of "For now they'll call me Scarface" or whatever, it goes on more and more and more a little bit. So it's a classic song. And then he also, I love how he has other songs that are called Scarface 2 or 3 or whatever, but he also makes a drawback to some lines in this song, because in one of the other songs where he was hooking up with a girl in that song too, she says, "I'll be damned if I have my head blown off like the last bitch," or something like that. So that's also clever. So Scarface, genius. Geto Boys, genius. Pick number 2.
Scarface is also one of my top 3 picks because of what Amir was saying, and building off of that, the thing that has always impressed me about Scarface, and my introduction to him, of course, came with Grip It on That Other Level, and it continues on this self-titled album, is Scarface's writing and his storytelling and his imagery and how vivid he is, and tonally his voice. You know, on Scarface, the song on the Geto Boys album, you can really hear his intensity, and it has peaks and valleys and waves as the song is going on, and as Amir was saying, depending on also how fast he's rapping, what he's rapping about. And to me, that's the highest form of artistry, to where he doesn't have one specific thing that he does. He's all over the place on one song, and it's all contingent upon what he's rapping about, and then also the production. So to me, this just shows what Scarface was and what he was going to end up being, which is one of the greatest rappers of all time, easily. And Scarface just shows it on such a amazing level. And the fact that when the song is long like this, and like Amir was saying, the last verse ends up being so long, to have a song in this era to where it's just not a radio song, it's not a commercial song, this is not a song they were going to do all this extravagant video, as videos were starting to get in 1990. To just have this song and the way it's laid out, the way it's executed, the way it's produced, the way it's written, is, to me, it just shows the highest level of execution of a great song. And Scarface does it as the artist, and the song itself does it, and the production is just remarkable. So that's my second pick. So Amir, what's your third pick?
It's a classic, dude. That's just classic. That's phenomenal. Third pick. This is an album that it was very tough. So I could have went Fuck 'Em also on this one. I could have went Size Ain't Shit. But I'm gonna go with Let a Hoe Be a Hoe. Willie D.
I'm noticing a theme here.
I don't know. Hey, I mean, it's just a great song. Willie D is so funny. I think they're all hilarious, to be honest. Particularly, like, Willie D is so funny, and Bushwick is, like, hilarious. Especially, talk about Gangster Love, the stuff he was saying in there is just ridiculous. But Willie D on this song, he's talking about, I mean, the song title basically sums it up. But basically saying, like, don't try and change these women who are, you know, showing hoe aspects. Don't try and change them to a girlfriend or wife them up or whatever. And then he's kind of detailing, like, some of the women who he's fooled with who are hoes, and, like, how he was sleeping with one of them, or he was sleeping with two of them in the last verse, but he woke up and his wallet was gone, and then he's like, well, I'm going to see him again and bone him again and whatever. But it's, like, ridiculous. And then it's also funny, like, how there's, like, a little insert in this song, like, before the last verse, where it's, like, Willie D, Bushwick, and Scarface all talking about some girl, and then I think Reddy Red may have been talking to, and then Scarface is like, nah, man, you lying, and then Willie D starts talking about how he was banging her, and then he says, I made the pussy go brrr when I stuck my dick to her. I'm like, what? It's just like, what's he saying? And it's just so funny, dude. Willie D, he and his voice is also just great. Also as well, like we're talking about how Scarface is a great voice. Willie D also has an exceptional voice. And then also, he also has other songs like this later on, like on We Can't Be Stopped, where he talks about, like, I'm Not a Gentleman, which I also like that song too. But Let a Hoe Be a Hoe is really funny, really dope. And then I also like how at the end of the song, he's talking about how he's not going to buy jewelry, contacts, whatever that they want, you know. So Willie D thematically sticks to the
cash
script.
register.
And the cash register. There we go. That's another one. And also, when Ice Cube released the greatest diss of all time, he said, Willie D told me to let a hoe be a hoe. So, there you go. That's my track 3.
Not my track 3, but as you can tell from my reaction to Amir's comments, I love this song and think it's amazingly hysterical and also repulsive at the same time, of course. But it's a great song. So my third pick is Mind of a Lunatic. And I was on the Geto Boys Unsung multiple times. And I said in there, and I'll say it again, I said it on Grip It on That Other Level. This is the first song I remember listening to that I felt like scared or afraid. It was just so jaw-droppingly grisly that it blew me away. And on this version of Mind of a Lunatic, which is different from the Grip It on That Other Level version, this one is more graphic, more violent, the story's longer, and it's just much more savage, which is saying something because the original main version from Grip It on That Other Level is ridiculously violent as well. But this one showed a different side of storytelling, and in a very serial killer madness way that, at least to my knowledge, I'd never heard in rap, and I'd never heard it in music, period. And to hear this song and to hear them really break this down, what they were going to do, and to do it on a serial killer style, it just blew me away. And it's an uncomfortable song to listen to, but it's also just an astonishing look at that type of thought and that type of action. So for me, it's just an immaculate song, as vile and despicable as it is. For what they're rapping about, just their stories are just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So that's my third pick. So there you have it, guys. Our 3 picks for the Geto Boys Eponymous 1990 album. Hit us in the comments section. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And we'll hit you back in the comments, especially, please, here on Unique Access Entertainment. I'm Soren Baker.
Amir, Rahimi.
The Geto Boys.